too, because I just I wanted you to think I did it really fast.
I did, and I'm not even sure I just followed all of what you just said, but I don't need to do fast math because you're usually very close by.
So,
That's not a skill I need. Plus, my phone's a calculator for when you're not around.
so in the last 2 weeks, yeah, I can't wait to see it. So we did decide on headphones on.
Yes.
Yeah.
Whoa.
If you haven't seen the last episode of the shorts, I think there was a short that came out this week, which shows us playing. I didn't realize. I mean, Maria knows everything about our switchboard, but there's little toggles where you can make like different voices and stuff. And so at the end of last episode, we were talking about the headphones and whether or not we should use them.
Oh,
and she was playing she's like, "This is why you have the headphones, because you can see how your voice is." And then we just started giggling and laughing and having a fun old time.
Yes.
And
playing with the voice changers.
yeah, I'm playing with the voice changers and stuff. So hopefully, I can't wait to see it and see how funny it is. It was funny when we were doing it. So I figure anytime something's funny, it always just makes me laugh when I watch it back, on the shorts.
Nothing. I was going to say there's nothing you enjoy more than like
laughing at myself.
Watching yourself on video.
Like
you do enjoy it.
Wait a second. That sounds weird.
No, like if it's something you're in, you're always like, what? If we made our year-end wrap up.
Yeah.
I mean, I will
watch it like a million times.
I'll hear you in the other room, like just
watching it. Yeah, because one, it's like it's one thing to watch people's content and stuff like that, and when it's yours, there's an enjoyment out of it.
Oh, you know what? I was just talking. So we got a new head of marketing on board.
Yes,
super exciting. I really am excited. I was just having a conversation with her about our annual conference, and I'm thinking that would be the perfect place to launch our annual recap video to our employees.
Okay, so you think we should hold the end of year wrap up?
Yeah.
That's not a bad idea.
Yeah, I know. I just thought of it in this moment in time.
Yeah, but what about? I mean, we do it soon enough, so it's like the end of January.
It's just our company's annual wrap up. So if we're like, it could very easily be like, hey, you're planning goals for the new year.
That's also really awesome because then we're not trying. We can
to
fit
do
in
both
Christmas
at the same
party
time. Yeah.
We can kind of really truly get the end of the year in.
That'll give Maria a chance to breathe. She did the editing last. Well, it was so funny last year. It was like, we're gonna outsource this, and then it was like the day after Christmas, and I was like, remember when I said we were gonna outsource this? We're not. You're way too good for us to not use you. But it was a fun project. Now I'm looking at her. I'm like, it is fun.
Yeah.
It's fun to put together. But I think that's a great idea. To wait to do it. So that'll be something else that I mentioned to her. Which, by the way, you rushed me in here because I was in the middle of a meeting and you were like, where are you? And I'm like, well, dude, I had a meeting before. You kept your meeting long.
First of all, okay. You can't, okay. That meeting did go long, but I didn't realize that Robin had a meeting. I didn't know that she had set the meeting up afterwards. Like, you didn't have that meeting with me. You had it with Robin.
Because you asked me to. Mm-hmm.
I know, but I didn't know that like that. So we're in a deep cycle. It's whenever you bring, okay. So there's a new kind of platform that's out there that I've seen. It's all about kind of building SOPs and standard principles, and actually
what's SOPs?
Standard operating procedures.
Oh.
And so it's kind of like, hey, this is how we do things, right? So in a perfect world, you're writing all this stuff, and someone new comes in, they're like, hey, here's the wiki, here's the SOP, like just read it, and you'll know everything there is about us, right?
The wiki. Oh my god, I hated that thing at a previous company.
Oh, I love wikis.
Okay.
Yeah.
Anyway.
I mean, so we're just building wikis. And we just don't have that. And I would say I would love to get to the point where like everything that we have is really well documented and people can get it. Matter of fact, there is a wiki inside of the Prodi HR platform that's already been outlined. It just we're so backlogged in development, we're not going to build it anytime soon.
Right.
But the idea is that everyone can log in. They can see their Prodi points. They can go to Prodi HR. They can.
That would actually be really nice. I didn't think about having that, but to have like everything associated with the company as you get onboarded. It's like, okay, your onboarding process is actually built into our back end, and you're just checking
our
a
back
list.
end,
yeah,
and you're just kind of flowing through it. And it's one of those things that we have big aspirations for public products, so. There are third-party platforms that we could just utilize, but now we're paying, $5 a user, and it starts off small. Next thing you know, like
when
our
you can
Google
build
bill,
it out.
our Google bill is insane now. like our Google email bill, because I also raised prices from $13.86 to like $15.72. Those numbers aren't perfectly exact, but
they sounded
$3.
Exact.
But you had 20 people at $3. That's $60 extra a month.
Yeah, that's crazy.
That's $600 a year.
You're doing really fast math right now.
It's actually $720.
In fact, you're top. Well, I wasn't correcting you.
I know.
At all.
But in my mind, I always rough those numbers out. So the quickest way to do anything by the year is to multiply by 10 times plus 2. So I just try to do that as quickly as possible. So usually the first number I always throw out is my 10. And then I go, oh, I'm sorry. And then it's giving me that extra time to catch up in my mind. So I'm just like, oh, that's $60. Oh, well, technically it's 72 because I wanted you to think I did it really fast.
I did, and I'm not even sure I just followed all of what you just said, but I don't need to do fast math because you're usually very close by.
So
that's not a skill I need. Plus, my phone's a calculator for when you're not around.
So in the last 2 weeks, we onboarded 2 new team members into Public Products. We brought in Kyle in Utilisoft, who is a software engineer.
Last time, I believe, was that last podcast? Was that last week?
What's that?
I was going to say, okay, well, maybe it was 2 weeks ago. Remember, I was like, I got to go. I've got an interview. And it was with Kyle. And we were all like, well, hope Kyle makes it. Anyway,
Kyle made it.
Kyle made it.
Kyle made it. Yeah. He's part of the team. He actually, literally, you're right, because we did the podcast. You met with him. And we literally gave him an offer. And I was like, when would you like to start? He's like, I can come in on Monday. And I'm like, done.
So here he is.
So here he is.
Yes.
Quick on board.
No, he started last week.
Yeah, last week. Okay. I mean, quick on board meaning like he had the weekend. It was literally like, here's your offer. It's good till tomorrow. Like sign it by tomorrow.
Yeah.
And then we brought in Robin, and we actually extended her offer before Kyle's, but her start date was this past Monday.
Yeah.
And
she had some things to wrap up.
So I don't know if you noticed the parking lot when you came into the office.
Oh, I did.
Today.
And I meant to tell you. So there is this like gas line. The dude next door at the sausage shop.
Okay, yeah.
He told me one day when I was the dude at the sausage shop.
There's actually a manufacturer. There's a meat manufacturer packing right next to us.
Yeah.
We're an industrial park.
Yeah.
So there's industrial things happening.
Yeah. Sometimes the dumpster gets stinky.
Okay. Well, here's the thing. This happens in business, right? So the sausage shop has a retail location in South Sarasota.
Not anymore.
It burned down.
Oh.
And so because of that, they had to move all their retail location here to the manufacturing facility, which just happens to be next to us. Well, in order to accommodate the parking, they had to move their dumpsters from the east side of the property over to the west side. Well, the west side is right next to us.
It's our side.
And as you are outside and the wind blows, you get a big whiff of
sausage,
rotten sausage. And they apologize and they bleach the thing down and everything.
It's not as bad. When we were looking at other buildings, I didn't even realize it was a thing, but there was like a sewage plant.
The
wasn't
sewage
there?
treatment plant.
Yeah. And they were like, it's not bad, but some days you can't smell. And you're like, oh my God. Can you imagine like your employees outside eating lunch? And
at the time we were looking at a home for Tackling Tuesdays, which is food.
Right.
And it was kind of like, okay, well, what day of the week is it?
Yeah. It's like, you know what?
Smell? What day are they processing the poo?
Yeah. Doing an open kitchen.
But
so
those
bad.
are there's some rules.
You just don't think about those. I would never think about those things looking for buildings.
Well, that's the thing. When you're out shopping for your business and you're trying to find a home, it's kind of quick. And sometimes, depending on the market you're in, buildings can go quick, especially if they're being leased, because lease is very easy versus the purchasing. But you want to move quick. So you're trying to make a quick decision. And it should be just like when you're buying a home or renting a home. It's like, okay, did you drive there at night? Did you see how rowdy the streets are?
Right.
Are the streets filled with cars?
Right.
Are there homeless people sitting on your front, your front?
Oh my God, this is so like off topic, but I've been walking with like a couple moms and going to different parks. And the other day, this girl was like, I wanted to be like, do you know Sarasota? Anyway, she was like, should we try somewhere new? And she sent this park, and it was like called Lime something Park. And it was literally like a block away from MLK
and
in town.
Army.
Yeah. And I was like, there's like this little lake you walk around. She was like, it looks cute. And I was
Gillespie?
I was like, no, it wasn't Gillespie. And I was like, even Gillespie's not that bad anymore. But I was like, have you been there? And she was like, no, why? She was like, I mean, sorry, I'm just giving new ideas, trying to see what parks are in the area.
Yes.
And I was like, honey, this is like, I'm sure there's some shit going down at this park. Like, this is not our park. This is not where three little white ladies go. No. Little moms with their babies. And so,
no, you would have got held up at that park.
100%. So they
would have shaken you down. You would have came back to your cars. Your hubcaps would be gone.
Because I was like, hey, I was like, have you been here? Because if
that's not really fair for that area.
No, by the way, I don't know. That's why I asked.
But I do think there's what we would call situational awareness, and understanding what is around that area. And there are areas that have potentially higher crime.
Oh my gosh. And totally separate. So apparently Albuquerque is like one of the highest crime cities in the US right now, which I didn't know. And I'm
New Mexico.
Yeah. And I haven't fact checked it, but my girlfriend was on a photo shoot at a hotel.
Yeah.
And there was like a shootout.
Right outside.
Yeah. And she was supposed to be leaving to go to the airport to fly to LA, and they were in lockdown in the hotel.
Yeah,
that's she said they heard the gunshots and everything. It like happened right outside their window.
Oh my gosh, that's horrible.
Isn't that scary?
Yeah, that's very scary.
I know. So again, you know what?
So let's
I'm not
dial
judging
it back.
any area.
So
yeah,
we're going back.
What were we talking?
You need to check out your office space at night. See what's going on, because even in our area here, there's people that are opening up mailboxes, pulling out mail. Like, you got to be careful.
Here?
Yeah, absolutely.
On an industrial
When
drive?
I leave every day, I see people who do not belong in this area riding bikes.
Oh my gosh. Okay.
Here we go.
Funny. No, this is a funny story. So I'm in the car. I stopped. I think this was the day that I brought you McDonald's, which we never, ever, ever get. But I've been craving fries, and I was like, I'm starving. And I know people are like in and out of the parking lot, and I wanted to eat because we were going to come in and do them. So I just stopped on the road.
Yeah.
And I was like going to eat my McDonald's really quick and then go in the office.
Okay.
And give you your bag or whatever. Maybe I was like on the phone with someone. So
you wanted to give me cold McDonald's.
No, I wasn't going to give you cold McDonald's.
I knew that was cold.
Anyway.
Because you ate outside.
So I'm in the car. I'm parked. I go to bend over to get my McDonald's. And this homeless woman knocks on my window. When I tell you, I shat my pants. I mean, and I just literally went, ah! and then just drove away. And I thought, oh my God. So I didn't eat in the car because the homeless lady didn't want your McDonald's to go cold. But that was my plan.
That's a Jesus smack.
No, oh my gosh. The other morning, he calls it a Jesus smack when like you do something and you shouldn't have, or it was wrong, and then
something happens to you.
Something happens to you.
It's called Jesus smack.
Okay, I think we've talked about this before. We've argued in the past. I walked out of the house, probably the one and only time I've ever walked away from an argument, and the skies opened and it started pouring.
And
that was a Jesus.
Because you were wrong. So it's like, hey, you just got a Jesus smack.
This was the beginning of our relationship years and years ago. And so the other day in the morning, I tripped on Abigail's activity center, and I swear I broke my freaking toe. And he was like, I came upstairs. I was like, oh, I think I broke my toe. And he was like, well, you shouldn't have been bitching about
you got a Jesus smack.
And I was like, I literally told you. I said, no, I thought about that. I was not in the wrong this morning.
What's funny is that you actually do that. You're like, oh my gosh, did I do something? Is this a Jesus smack?
Yeah.
It's really nice. Okay, so we're going to keep dialing it back to looking at your properties. Then we're dialing it back to our parking lot, or the sausage place.
This is where it came from. Hold on though, because the man from the sausage factory said there's a gas line.
Yeah,
someone's parked right over it right now.
That's fine. So I don't know. First of all, that grass gets mowed, and if there ain't nothing sticking up over there or anything like that, it's fine.
Yeah.
So, but here's the thing, right?
I'm not parking my car over
our parking lot is packed right now.
Maria's spot is marked.
I know. The people who get in early.
It's not even early.
It's interesting.
Can you imagine if someone took Maria's spot? We should put plaques.
Well, here's the thing. Robin came in early. And
she
so whose spot did she go in? I don't know.
Did she take someone's spot?
Not
mine. Look at her. Maria, not mine.
Right? So, and actually, here's the thing is that Megan on the team is usually first.
Because
she starts
8:30. 30 minutes before everyone else. Yeah.
But she had an appointment this morning, right? So Robin got in first.
Did Megan lose her spot?
I don't know. We'll have to ask her and be like, did But isn't that funny? Because when you're at a company and you're there, everyone kind of knows your spots. They might not know you like, oh, that's Maria. That's, the different people. But what they do know is the car, right?
Yeah.
And they're like, okay, the gray car is always 3 spots over from the front, right?
Yeah.
And then even people who come in later, they don't take those first spots.
This is hilarious. So at my first company that I got in Sarasota, corporate job, there was a parking lot in the back. This was the Wells Fargo building downtown. Yeah. There was the parking lot in the back, and then there was a side parking lot in the back, and then like on another street, and then there was in the garage.
The garage.
Yep. And so if you were a brand new employee, you started in the back lot.
You started in the back lot.
And then like if people either got fired or left the company, like slowly but surely
they passed
through
the parking badge so you could get through the
so like there would be like a day where someone would get laid off and you'd be like, who's next in line for the garage? And like it was like
because it rains in Florida, and so the garage is the place to be.
Or there would be like a pass that they would just have, and if you got like employee of the year or won like an award or something, then like the garage came with it. It was like such a thing. It was literally such a thing. And one time I remember someone got it and someone else thought they were next in line, and it was like a parking fiasco. Oh. Yeah. But it wasn't assigned spots in the garage. But that's the thing. If you went into the garage, it was like people were always in the same spot. Yeah. So when you were new, you were like, fuck. Where am I parking? Like whose spot? Because they would come in, like leadership would come in and be like, whose car is in my spot? And
right.
You'd be like,
there are no assigned spots, but
there are.
But there are. Like there very clearly, is. Someone was in my spot this morning. So,
really?
Yeah.
Oh shit.
Yeah. Well, I also went to the store and picked up supplies for the office.
We were out of toilet paper. It was kind of emergency.
Yeah, it was emergency. Emergency toilet paper run. And so. So the parking lot is filled. We cannot put another person in the parking lot at this point.
No, it's exciting. You know what could happen?
We could move
the pontoon.
Which is taking up a spot. And I have been thinking about moving it.
Does the office know that there's a new piece of junk coming?
You didn't see it already there?
No, it's not.
It's already there.
No.
It got delivered yesterday.
Not.
Yes, and it took 4 of us to lift it. Yes.
Okay, you guys, you know what? I'm glad this came up because listen to what my husband did to me. Okay? It was...
Well, first of all, I wouldn't say it's a dream. I would say it's a dream opportunity.
Piece of shit is here right now.
And so
I gotta go look at it.
I grew up in Naples, and in Naples we have something called the Swamp Buggy Races. And so the Swamp Buggy Races is Florida redneck thing where you just race these buggies through.
We've talked about this before. We bought VIP spots to go to the Swamp Buggy Races last year. And you know what VIP meant?
Meant folding chair.
Under a tarp.
Under a tarp. But that's cool. Like to me, that was experience. So I can't wait to send this picture. By the way, do not send the picture. I'm going to send it to the family today.
Oh my God.
I did send it to my brother, and I don't know if I've got a response back yet. Okay. He might not even know what it is. But anyways, in my feed in Facebook Marketplace, it popped up that there was a Swamp Buggy. It's not the chassis, not the wheels, no engine. It's just kind of the body. It's one of the hardest things to build. They're typically going to be somewhere in the neighborhood of $4,000 to $8,000 to make, like if you were going to come out of pocket. Okay. And so I saw it, and the guy wanted $600. And so I was like, and then I messaged him, and I saw that it was on the way to the lake, to the cottage.
So we are going to the lake for Father's Day weekend. Happy Father's Day, everyone, by the way. I don't think we said that.
Yeah, happy Father's Day.
So he says to me, it's already like a long drive for Abigail with feedings and timing and whatever. And so he's like, it's Father's Day weekend, and I'd like to make a quick stop on the way to the lake. And he goes, I know what you're going to say, but it's Father's Day. And I'm like, oh, okay.
Yeah.
And so
I totally played the Father's Day card.
100%. So,
by the way, I don't know if I've ever done that in my life.
Okay, this is the first Father's Day we've had a child. So if this is any indication of what it's about to be. So anyway, we stop. Well, hold on. He goes, it's not that far. off the, beaten path or whatever. And I'm like, okay. And so we pull up to this house.
Okay, first of all, we pull off the main road and we drive.
Oh, and by the way, I said,
200 yards.
I said, what is this? And he was like, it's parts. It's just parts I might need. I was like, okay, parts? I was like, for what?
I did call it parts.
He goes, just a project. Just a project I'm working on, just parts. Okay, we pull up to this house, okay? And
to the Clampets.
When I tell you, it is like a junkyard on wheels. I mean, this is like a fenced-in
junkyard
treasure trove. Like, it's just like...
By the way, it's someone's home.
Okay, so
there's a mobile home.
So there's me, my dog, and my infant in a car parked in a ditch on the side of this main road. Okay. She's screaming in the back. I'm sitting in the back. He goes, oh, by the way, you tell me lock the door. Then he comes back to get the deposit. And in front of the guy, you're like knocking on the window. And I'm like, oh, sorry. The car must have just randomly locked. I'm not terrified of where I am right now. But anyway, he knocks on the door. Some young girl answers. It's 3 p.m. She's in full-blown PJs.
Full-blown PJs.
And she's looking at you like you've got 10 heads knocking on her door.
She's like, why are you here?
So then next comes I don't want to say anything, a lady.
Lady.
Yeah.
Lady. Trailer lady.
An interestingly dressed lady.
Yeah.
And then next comes a man who's barely dressed.
Who's also barely dressed.
But they're like slowly but surely coming out of the home.
Out of the house.
Coming out of the one home. After another. And I'm like, who else is in there? Oh, and then a child.
Then a barefoot child comes out.
Who is playing in the mud in the junkyard. And so I'm just watching and I'm like, where are we? Now, this guy who comes out barely dressed, he's like, man, we didn't know you was coming. He's like, we thought you was the cops.
They thought I was the police knocking on the door.
And I was like, you're lucky. Whoever the man was selling the piece of junk in his junkyard.
Yeah.
So I have no idea, but it's the frame to a swamp buggy. Yeah. He's in the back corner of this yard. I mean, it's on grass. And I'm like, how does he expect
to lift it or move it?
To get this thing out of here.
If I had tried to lift it, I would have probably passed because I would have been like, there's no way I can move this. But he was like, I'll deliver it for you. And he's like, because I asked him, I said, well, what about you? You said something about delivery. And he's like, if you offer me full price, I'll deliver it. And I was like, done.
It was insane.
So literally I came
so
back.
I was unaware.
I had a deposit. So
it has been delivered.
Deposit.
Yes.
And then literally he came in yesterday. So I met him, by the way, because I only talked to the guy who was selling it on the phone. And so I actually met him yesterday.
Was he dressed?
Yeah, something like that. Yeah. I mean, he was a good old redneck boy. He was very nice. Very nice.
Okay.
But it's just, we forget, when you live in different parts of Florida is big. And so you live on the coast, right? You have pockets of wooded people, right? Little pockets where people are like not really mainstream. But as you venture into the middle of the state in these small towns, you're getting into. But I will tell you,
so our condo or whatever we're calling it, cottage. Okay, I always call it
the cottage.
The people that live in that town are so nice and polite.
Gosh, yeah.
So we
Florida.
We were up there the other day, and there was a girl at the fire. She was with all of her girlfriends, playing laser tag or something, or light volleyball or whatever it was. But she sat at the fire and she was like, yeah, my family's lived here for generations. But she was like, yes, ma'am, no, ma'am, please and thank you. Just talking. She was such an adult. She was so polite.
Very polite.
And I was like, gosh, this is not what the teenagers are like in Sarasota.
Absolutely not. No. People just aren't.
I mean, there are nice people,
but
they wouldn't walk up to a crowd that they didn't know because it's not
country.
homey like
I'm
that.
Telling you,
exactly.
There's a huge difference between country folk and city folk.
Well, also just a different lifestyle.
We're like city folk.
Yeah, but there is a lifestyle of
That's the thing. It's
feeling
we could
safe.
sit there and go,
That's
we were
more
taken
what
back.
my childhood was. Yeah.
We were totally taken back by the situation. And it's because
what situation?
Of being at the pickup point.
the
swamp buggy.
Yeah, the junkyard.
Park. Yeah, the junkyard.
I know. I cannot believe that.
And so we get a little
his
taken
parking
back
lot at the office is full because he has a pontoon on blocks.
My pontoon is on a trailer.
Okay. There's no engine on that either. None of these things can be in the water.
I'm thinking about making it a water park now.
Oh my God. What?
A floating water park that I can put out with like a big slide and some other things and like a huge fountain with pumps. And I'm thinking about making it something fun for the kids, for people that come visit.
Whatever. I'm just along for the ride.
Yeah.
I can't gawk.
Yeah. So the idea here, going back to
the parking lot being full.
The parking lot being full.
Because your toys are taking up 2 spaces.
Yeah, I'll tell you what.
Did they put the swamp buggy on the pontoon on top of it?
We put some of the parts up there before so we could get the main thing out instead of trying to lift up the whole thing. But I actually ordered little casters. And so what I'm going to do is when the casters come in this week, we're going to lift that buggy up, put it and strap it onto the casters so that we can kind of move it around. And then the goal is that I'm probably just going to tarp it for now. We'll probably sit on it for a year. But the idea is that, one, going all the way back, this is like an opportunity to do something that I grew up with.
I'm just glad it's not in our garage at home.
Oh, gosh. Yeah, no, trust me. Even me. If it was in the garage at home, we'd be in trouble.
Whoa.
So
I wouldn't put it past you.
So the idea is that if I just built a regular buggy, no one would really care because it's like, oh, it's just another small buggy, right? But if I built an electric buggy and competed against the gasoline buggies, there could be something cool. And we could basically say, hey, we're this tech company. We came out. It's press worthy. We could put stuff out and it would have a run, right? And then we could just sell it or do something else with it.
After we sat in the junkyard and he said, I'm going to get it. And I was like, how do we plan on moving it in this moment? And he was like, they're going to deliver it to me. And I was like, and what the fuck do you plan on doing with this swamp buggy frame?
It's an investment.
You said, I'm going to be in the swamp buggy races.
I'm going to be in the swamp buggy races.
And I was like, are you kidding me? And then he said that he was going to put a battery and water and have an electric swamp buggy. So I'm like, wonderful. We're just, going from one dangerous scenario to another. And I'm just, again, along for the ride.
Well, here's the thing. Okay.
Just don't get electrocuted.
No, seriously, right? Like, who wants to get electrocuted?
No, please don't.
Yeah.
I can't handle that.
I can't.
But anyway, this weekend, we're off that topic. Done.
So anyways, it's just super excited, but we definitely are we've definitely hit the max, I think, for this office.
Yes, in the parking lot, for sure.
Space.
But I am leaving out of town this weekend. It is, oh my God, I'm going to age myself. My 20-year high school reunion.
Wow, you're so old.
It's so crazy.
Yeah.
It really is.
Yeah, congratulations.
Thank you. It's your 25-year college reunion this year too.
I know.
It's the year of reunions. But yeah, I'm flying home to Michigan. I thought I'm leaving Abigail for the first time and it'll be fine. I know everything will be fine. You'll, keep her happy and alive. But
it's funny because I told the team, I sat there and I was like, it's going to be a great weekend this weekend. I'm going to do lots of work. My wife's leaving town.
Yes.
I get to do just nonstop work and I'm going to pick like a trilogy or
he literally
a
said, I never turn the TV on and he's like, we're going to watch the entire Harry Potter trilogy. Well, it's more than a trilogy.
That's what I'm saying. Like
7?
That's 8 episodes, 9 episodes.
Yeah.
Star Wars is 9. MCU's like 12. Like, it's kind of like, what do I want to do? The world's my oyster.
No, just don't turn the TV on at all. But engage with your daughter. Sing songs.
I'm going to. But trust me, she wants to watch the entire Harry Potter series too.
Oh my gosh. So anyway, I'm leaving. And I thought, if you were going to leave your child, I would hope to be going somewhere like, to the beaches of Tulum. And I'm going to the hills of Farmington in Michigan. And I'm like, oh. So, yeah, that'll be so interesting. It'll be really good to see some old friends. I think it all sounded like a good idea. And now it's like a couple days away. And it's like, wow, are we really doing this? But I'm going with a group of girlfriends that are still my best friends today. So I have some very good friends that I've kept from my high school. I'm very fortunate. And so we'll all have each other no matter what.
That's cool.
Yeah.
Are we going to do so?
He wasn't listening.
I was just
He's
sharing
about to change the subject completely.
No, I was sharing with the team because we're talking about Michigan and everything that's going on. And we have a trip planned where we're going to Michigan for 10 days this summer. Mm-hmm. And I was just sharing with the team. I go, I'm really hoping that for this 10 days that I can unplug from the company. Like I'm going to do work in the morning, but I really would like everything just to happen and no one need me, and for me to literally like not look at my phone.
Last year, literally, when we were in Michigan, that was when we got the order. Stay cool. We got the order. We got
the biggest order, like a 40-unit order.
They said it was going to be weeks. They wanted it overnight, and then in the same breath, wanted it picked up because it magically got fixed. And
3 days later,
yeah, it was the biggest fiasco. We had people working round the clock.
Called in favors, literally dropped like $8,000 at Lowe's across
across 3 locations. So he was on the phone a lot that time, and you know, we'll see.
Yeah.
If anything, I hope we're going to visit some wineries, which I am very excited about on the other coast of Michigan, and so I'm hoping you can at least unplug for those days.
I'm really going to try to work to unplug.
Well, you better start now.
Practicing.
He always says it takes him, like if you ever go on vacation, I'm sure a lot of people are like this.
It takes a day to unplug.
No, more than that.
2 days to unplug, and then the last day of your vacation, you start thinking about work, so you're plugging back in.
Right. So you need at least 2 days, like where you expect him to not be there mentally. Then a day where he's going to enjoy himself, maybe 2 if you're lucky, and then he starts thinking about work again because you're returning. So your trip needs to be at least 5 days long.
Well, that's the thing. Is like if you have a 7-day vacation, you really are going to have 4 true days of relaxation. According to
I'm fine.
To somebody, I know you are, like, because you don't have to worry about anything. You're just like, oh, everything's going, like, oh, paycheck arrived, magic. Oh, the money fairies deposited again.
Even when I was an executive at a company, I had a pretty easy time of unplugging. I really did, but I worked
when you work for someone else, it is definitely easier to unplug.
I worked very hard to responsibly prepare to be away. And I made sure everything was taken care of. And I never, ever, ever took a vacation if something important was going on. Like I never traveled during trade show season because that was my responsibility. So yeah, I mean, you make sacrifices in life.
You do make sacrifices. So, and I'm in the season of life right now where we've been, and we're starting to get, some of the fruits of the hard labor, because those of us who were at the beginning, like it was, you're doing a lot of hats, working nonstop. But as you build your team, right, and you add more members, they start taking on responsibility, which is really nice. And I just hired your chief responsibility taker.
There you go. Thank you.
You're welcome.
I appreciate it. I am excited. I was having a discussion with her this morning. So I need to tell everyone a story because you unplugged this weekend.
Okay.
We were at the lake.
The cottage, yeah.
Again, it was Father's Day weekend, so he's using this. But he never unplugs, and there was this guy. All these families come to the lake. They're usually there, for vacation. They rent out other units. But we own, and so we know a lot of these people that continuously come year after year.
Yeah.
And we got there this weekend. It's Father's Day weekend. You've been very busy with work lately. You haven't been drinking as much and whatever. And this man had a blender. And he was making drinks for his family. And he was walking around the beach. And he was like, scuba.
And we were like the first tent.
Yes.
Where the
blender was. Yes.
For the blender and the tiki, and then to get
he
to
was
his
like
family,
outside.
He had to pass our tent.
He had like a bar set up.
And so he came by and he's like, "Would you like a Scooby-Doo?"
Yeah.
And I was like, "A Scooby snack?"
So they were like these little shots, and then he came around again, and he was like,
"Oh no, they were called Scooby snacks."
He was like, "I've got a key lime colada," and then so he's just like blitzing these drinks. So Chris, this man who would like. Before I met him, really didn't drink and had never tried a drug in his life. I mean, someone walks around with a cup you can't even see through, and they're like, alcohol? And he's like, well, and you're like, okay.
Well, the funny thing is,
once he drinks it,
after I drank that,
I looked at me and said, I hope I didn't just drink
I hope this isn't
cyanide.
a David Koresh moment here where we're all going to just toast to the family and
and we drank it before anyone in the family did.
Yeah, we were the first people gone.
So then I'm watching and I'm like, okay, no, he just gave it to a 20-year-old child. He wouldn't kill that child, would he? I was like, no. I'm like, okay.
No, it's a cult. We're all going down.
And so anyway, he's having a ball. He hasn't let loose in a while. And I stand up. Abigail's sleeping under the tent or whatever. And I go to say hi to someone else in the family. My back is to our tent, and I'm chatting to this other mom about the kid or whatever. And she was like, oh, she pointed over to our tent, and she was like, I mean, my son would never sleep there like that. And I turned around, and she was not, in fact, sleeping. She was like flailing about. And I was like, oh my God, she's awake. And I was thinking, oh, Chris will get her in a second. And I looked, and I was like, where's my husband? And I was like, the child's alone, but hold on. She's not alone. There's randoms who have found shade under our tent that are next to my infant without her father anywhere to be found. And I'm like, oh my God. I was like, okay. So
I saw them
it
from
did
the
not
water.
take you. Okay. I had no idea he was in the water. So there I am. I'm like, oh my God. He just drank pina coladas and Scooby snacks. And this man might be like really sick. Like, did something just happen? And he's up. So I grabbed the
grabbed her and you
child
went to go look for
and
me
I
in the
ran up
cottage.
to the cottage and I was like, Chris, are you okay? And he was like, nowhere to be found. So now I'm going from like worried to pissed because I'm like, okay, where is this
So
man?
my husband just ran off.
You know, when you're like waiting for someone to come home and they're late and you're like, they better not have gotten in a car accident. I hope they're okay. But the minute they're okay, I'm pissed.
That's me all the time.
Yeah, all the time. Yeah. And so anyway, I looked around. I ended up having to give her a bottle and like an hour goes by and I go back outside and where are you? In a sea of 40 members of this family bobbing and weaving with your little coladas and I'm like, that didn't take 2 days to unplug. I mean, you were having a ball. No. I'm like, you left your daughter. You're like, I knew you were there. I'm like, can you inform?
Come on, she was 10 feet away.
Anyway, this is fatherhood versus motherhood.
You're right. I'm the one that's going to toss her in the air and be like, you can fly.
Yeah.
Yeah. And you're going to be like, okay, you need to stand on the ground, stay safe.
No, I'm saying it because every mother in the world can relate. Like it's anytime you talk to a girlfriend or a family member, they're like, yep, me too. Completely understand. Same thing.
Well,
I'm sure I'm looking at Maria because she's got babies in the family, and I bet her brother is exactly like what I just explained. Well, MIA. Like a mother would never be like, I'm sure someone in the vicinity will keep my child alive. I'm going to go for a boat ride.
No, it's the tribe mentality. Everyone's raising the child. It's the tribe.
Okay, our tribe was not there. Okay. She found a new tribe. She almost got adopted.
She was with the Father's Day tribe. That's funny.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. No, but you're right. It does take time to unplug. I think alcohol can help you unplug a little bit faster.
Top vacation.
But the big thing with that is because I have cut back so much, and I had a couple Scooby snacks.
And then there's this like little angel and devil on my shoulder where you're like, well, you really do want him to have fun. And then I'm like,
I know you're the one that was like, you need to relax. You work really hard, Yeah, then I relaxed really hard. And it's like, you cannot relax.
You left our child.
She wasn't left. She was I mean, look, like she's right there on the lake, right there next to
Everything worked out.
Everything worked out.
Yes, it did. Good. I know. And we're in preparations for 4th of July. We just got a new stove. Talk about random things. It's so funny.
It gets delivered tomorrow.
Yes. Our stove was like, wouldn't turn off. Talk about a fire hazard.
The stove wouldn't turn off. We had to like hit the breaker to like kill power to it. And then I turned it back on and it kind of turned off. But we were just like, you know what?
This thing was like illuminating heat.
It was radiating heat.
You will literally like when you turn your stove on, it goes like kind of, it's got like the black little spots and it'll go like kind of red with the black little spots in the rings. And you're like, okay, like it's heating. And then it goes back to black because it's gotten to the warmth.
It does that because it's bringing the temperature up slowly.
That's what I'm saying.
It's kind of like throbbing.
Yeah, I understand.
Yeah. Okay.
This was bright red.
No, it was just bright red. It was just like it didn't give
a
shit.
It would not go off.
It was like
kept getting hotter.
It was like, oh, you want low? You're getting high.
It was like
you're getting everything.
You didn't even know this could go this high.
I was like, wow, these eggs are cooking really fast.
No, it was insane. It was insane.
So we ended up pulling it out, and hopefully we didn't want to buy a new.
No, he was like, we'll wait till the end of the summer, which would have been fine because we have a barbecue grill and that's all we normally do.
So people, like if you're growing a business, right, like you're going to have expenses that are going to keep coming up. Like it's just nonstop. So just like you're growing a family, your expenses.
It's always something.
You're growing an office. So here, like I just ordered extra trash cans, right? Because we just put some new desks in. We got new chairs. We got all the stuff. And then I'm literally looking at the fridge going, this fridge was really good.
Small. Yeah.
When there was 4 of us here,
it's
not bad. But when you have 10 people, like you can, like I can see people going.
That is funny you say that because when I was in an office of like 200, we had like 2 like commercial size fridges.
Commercial fridges.
Yeah.
So now I'm sitting here going, okay, we're going to have to make a change. I'm not exactly sure like what I can fit here.
But the team that originally came here, like some people need to struggle with the whole startup mentality because I mean, Brandon waited for a microwave for months.
Yeah, I know. I was like, guess what, guys? We got a microwave.
And people are like, thank God I can heat my lunch. I know. Before it was like, it's really hot outside. Just leave it for 30 minutes on the pavement.
A lot of people, there's something to be said about being at the beginning of a company growing.
Well, it's memories.
You get these memories, and it's kind of like you get this bonding experience where you talk about like, oh yeah, like
remember when we didn't have a microwave?
Literally 5 years from now, if we hit the office that's in my mind in 5 years. People that come to work, people will come there and be like, I totally want to work here. Like, it's awesome. And then all the OGs are going to be like, yeah, you'll never remember.
Maria will be like,
21.
Walked
they're
in.
Like,
it was
21,
literally,
21. Remember 21?
We always talk about Maria, but just so everyone here knows, she was our #1 employee who came to work in the office. She literally interviewed with Chris and was like, I'll come to an office every day with a random man. Sure.
Well, technically there was 2 random men because we had I think Ethan came pretty close to the beginning.
No,
too.
she was here for like a month by herself at least. Yeah.
I think so. Okay.
Like,
I mean, yeah, it's pretty ballsy.
I came in to meet her. I was like, it's okay. This man won't kill you.
It's safe. It's safe here. Like, I know there's a sausage shop next door where they're just chopping up things, but you're safe here.
They won't smell you if you're in that dumpster with the sausage.
I always think that even when we were interviewing people, like, it was nice having Maria here because interviewing people to an office when it's just me, it's kind of. I can only imagine what it was like for the first people coming in, where they're like what the conversation was when they came home. They're like, yeah, showed up to this place. I mean, it was kind of big, but there's only one person in there.
Yeah.
And
it's
he
one
was
thing
nice.
to be like, I'm going to be part of a startup. And then it's another thing to be like, I am the startup.
I am the startup. Like he says there's other people, other places. He could just be talking to a screen. He could be mental.
You're on calls. Like she doesn't look at the screen.
I know, right? Because the screens are facing each other.
There's no one. You've got your headphones on. You're like, hello, everybody.
Yeah. I can look back and remember the original desk setup because it was the six desks sideways. And I don't remember where I sat. I don't remember where anyone sat.
I remember where you sat. You were still in the same place.
Was I in this side? Just turned around that way.
Yeah. Remember the window was behind you.
That's right.
And you blocked the window.
That's right. Mm-hmm. And then we moved everything. Yeah, it's fun. At the thing is like
I remember where I sat.
Yeah, you had an office. Yeah,
I still do. I'm waiting for my office to be. It's already there's a yellow couch in there. It does not go with the feng shui at all.
Yeah, sorry.
It's a nice looking office.
Maria suggested that we move the yellow couch into here.
Yeah,
and we move the gray couch into your place.
I think that's a good idea.
Okay, we'll see what happens.
It would go much better.
I don't know if we can get it out. I think the door.
Look, there's so much shit on this couch and that other couch and everywhere
I was telling
else.
The office that I was like, yeah, Beck was saying how we started stockpiling stuff in the office. It was getting kind of hoardy everywhere. And stuff. And then I thought, oh my gosh, if you could see it now, like when she sees it now with everything that we have out, it is a little hoardy right now. We're gonna clean it up. We just have to get through this little phase.
Little blip. Yeah. Okay, we got a hard stop, don't you?
We have a hard stop. Yeah, we got a call. So
it's been a pleasure.
It's been a pleasure. We randomized.
What is that? Silence of the Lambs. Ew! It was not even a voice changer. No, that's disgusting. That's Silence of the Lambs. I've never seen it.
Oh, really? Oh, that's like the best scene.
I thought it was always like, Clarice, it's been a pleasure.
Oh, Clarice. Anyways,
that is so gross what you just did. That's going to take me an hour to get over.
That's Silence of the Lambs. Ooh. Okay.
Goodbye.
Yeah, it's meant to be that way. All right. Next time.